At 13, my father became jobless. He was repairing fighter aircrafts and they closed down. So he was jobless for about 8-9 months. And so I saw him struggling. So I said to my father, don't worry about my education. Leave me alone. I'll find my own way. Fortunately, unfortunately, my father believed me. So he left me alone.
Stanis, I heard you've been traveling a lot. Why?
Why am I traveling a lot? Oh, well, actually, prior to this conflict, I set a goal, right? It's a life goal. I told myself that by the time 60, I want to speak across 60 countries. It's been delayed by 2 years, COVID. And then I think it was just about 2023, I sat down after sending my son off to Australia, came back, looked at my wife, and she said, don't even think about it. That wasn't what I was thinking about because the last time I thought about it, he's now 25 years old. So I said...
So long, huh?
Yeah. So I said to myself, it's been, I set this goal 60 and now, I have only limited time. So I said, okay, there's nothing else to do. If I keep delaying it, I may not even be able to carry the luggage back to put it up on the cabin. So I said, I will travel. So the 60 countries, it was a 60-60. By the time 60, hit 60 countries. So now I've hit about 45 countries.
Oh, wow.
And I've spoken across 38 countries.
Nice.
And then now the fuel crisis has come about. So I'm kind of cautious about traveling to Europe because I don't want when I reach there, then no fuel, I got to walk back to Singapore. So I'm waiting until July and see what's it like. Then I'll start back again to traveling. Yeah.
Okay. And what made you do this 60 by 60?
60 by 60, it's a personal goal because I think a lot of people will say that, look, I've traveled to this place, I've traveled to that place, but generally most people would not even have seen 1/3 of the world. Right? I don't want to die and then when God asked me how many countries have I visited and then 5, what? God will say, I created 196 over countries and you only not even 1/3. So I don't want to leave, not even seeing 1/3 of the world.
So which country is the top on the list now?
Which country is the top of the list to visit?
Yeah.
I think at this moment I'm thinking of Africa, at least 5 countries across Africa.
Wow.
I had an interesting time training a bank in Kenya, in Masai Mara. I went suited up and then the tribal people say, you're the first person who come here fully suited up, and most people are going to a resort. Yeah,
but it's hot and all, right?
Not exactly. It was quite
The culture is not to suit up?
No, generally it's a tribal environment.
Yeah.
So you see tribal people. But what's very interesting when you see this guy fully in his Maasai tribe suit, attire, sitting down. I was looking at him for a long time. And then all of a sudden from the side, he took out an iPhone, So
yes, they do have iPhones, right?
Yeah, the whole impression of how you see things changes. So that's, you see, until you travel, your perceptions are influenced by your current environment. But when you travel, you see things differently. That's also the reason why I started traveling. And I wanted to write. One thing is because I was interested in writing. And my writing is, when you travel, your writing gets influenced by what you see. Yeah.
So speak about writing. How many books? I see a lot of books here. How many books have you written?
I have actually written 5 books on my own.
Okay.
And I've written 4 others for some other people. Before I turned into a ghost, I decided to do some ghost writing.
Oh, okay.
So my goal was to write 10 books for myself and 5 for other people. So now I'm on the 5th one. The 5th one was just released, Turning No to No.
Okay.
And I started on another book.
Right.
And so who's this? What's the audience? Who's the audience for this book?
For this book, Turning No to No is actually generally every new salesperson would benefit out of it. Because if you're starting a new business or whether you're starting in a financial services career, which is where I train most people, they will find this as a useful thing on the start. Because I think it's a lot with personal experiences. When I started the career, that there was not much that I know about it, but it took me longer to fulfill the goals I wanted to fulfill. Right, this helps, and it's a lot of this is actually based on lessons I learned from my boss, Mrs. Liu, my district manager. Her name is Mrs. Liu Laiwan. As of August this year, she'll be 103 years old.
Wow.
And actually, there's a picture of her in my very first book, okay, which
The
looks like a
sales perspective,
PSLE
this one.
textbook.
First
Yeah.
book.
Yeah, that looks like a PSLE textbook, and there's a picture of her on her 100th birthday.
On a 100th birthday.
100th.
Yes, and not many of us have attended a 100-year-old's birthday.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm fortunate that I managed to attend someone's 100th birthday.
We attended a company's 100th birthday, but
No, not
yeah.
a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as well, I'm finding a picture, right, because it's a lot of words, right? So I try to connect the dots here. You also go around giving speeches and doing courses and things like that. What is the topic that you teach?
Okay.
There it is. I thought it was like on the back. It was actually in front,
And
right in
you
front.
celebrated the
100th birthday, yeah. This year she'll be 103 years old.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Actually, I just sent a text this morning to her son to say I want to come by to visit to give her this book.
Okay.
Because I was working on my 6th book.
Okay.
And there was a line that I wrote about how when I wanted to buy a property and I was short of the deposit at that time, it was my first year in my sales career, and I was very disillusioned. And she said, until you begin to see opportunities, you will see only obstacles, right? If you see your opportunities, you go out, talk to people, right? You will find the means to settle. And about 2 months later, I actually bought a property.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's why a lot of the writing is based on the casual conversations and actual training that I received. I used to tell people, my manager, Mrs. Liu, never taught me anything, but made me learn everything. It sounds very offensive when you say she never taught you anything, but by the questions, she made
asked.
me learn everything. You know, so that's why all the books have a message or lessons from her.
Was insurance the first career?
No, actually, I started my just to give you a background. I went to work when I was 13.
13.
13.
13. I worked and studied at the same time.
Okay.
It's not a rag to riches story. I mean, we all have, we are all stuck in some position at some point in our life. At 13, my father became jobless, Lockheed Aircraft. He was repairing fighter aircrafts and they closed down. So he was jobless for about 8-9 months. And basically, my father looked after many kids, those of his own and those adopted ones. So, and so I saw him struggling. So I said to my father, don't worry about my education. Leave me alone. I'll find my own way to educate myself. Fortunately, unfortunately, my father believed me. So he left me alone. And I went out to work at 13. So I live in Changi village. And I used to cycle down to a place called Toh Drive, Toh Avenue, Toh Crescent. I don't know if you guys have heard of this place. The entire place is called Toh Drive, Toh Crescent, Toh Avenue. But
In
till
Changi.
today, I don't know who that Mr. Toh is.
Okay.
All right. And so it's a landed property just about 2 bus stops after Changi prison, if you're coming from town.
Yeah.
Right. And I used to go to this neighborhood looking for jobs. I used to go door to door. That's actually my first sales experience,
Okay.
going door to door, knocking people's door, asking people for jobs. Very often police come and pick me up, because they don't understand what you're doing. So I had to explain to people I just wanted jobs. So there were people who started giving me jobs, and that was how the initial career. So work and studied as two people who had great influence in that neighborhood and ensured that I stayed in school. One was a lady called Mrs. Ari, an airline pilot's wife, and she will arrange for me to have jobs, right, and run errands and all that. Basically, she taught me domestic skills.
Wow.
Mopping floors, ironing clothes,
And she paid you for
washing
that?
toilets and all that. It was $50 a week.
Okay.
And aisling airline pilots.
$50 a week, that was a big amount, isn't it?
I was going to school feeling like a rich
rich
kid.
kid, right.
But that was one. And the other person who had a great influence in me, and in fact, I wrote about him in page, I think, 160 of my first book, Mr. Basil Fernandez.
Okay.
He passed away last year. And when I came back to Singapore, I flew the following day, because when I found out he passed away, I flew the following day to pay
see
my
him off,
respects to him.
okay.
Yeah. I didn't get to attend the funeral because the funeral was 1 week later, but I at least had a chance for a closure, And he gave me jobs. He taught me painting, house painting, not that kind of painting that you might think, this was house painting. And that house painting will give me on the average about $300 to $400 each house those days.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So, and he will create fine jobs for me, but he pays me only $7 a day. Right? But when he
Okay.
creates job for me, they will pay me a few $100s. So he was like the master painter, and I was just always. In 2 years, he made me only wash paint brushes. While he painted, I had to watch, and then you have to give him the paint and the brush, and then at the
Like
end
an
of the day,
assistant in a way.
yeah. Initially, I was very frustrated, but actually, what he was teaching was the fundamentals, right? And this is the same thing in business. Do we actually spend time knowing the basics? How good are we at the basics? So that when things turn otherwise, right, we still have the basic foundation that keeps us solid. And very often people don't do that. And he was putting me through that. In fact, by the time I was 16, I had 3 other people working for me.
Do you make them watch you paint?
16. You have 3 staff under you. Wow.
Yeah. I used to wash cars in the entire neighborhood. While I had painting jobs and all that, the neighborhood's car, most of the cars I wash, I charge $3 per car. I take 2, I pay my employee 1. Every 3 months, I do profit sharing to prevent competition. Those days I see things as competition. These days I see collaboration. If you think about it.
Yeah.
So that's how my first career was, and I graduated with 3 O levels. And don't look at me like that. You think it's easy to get 3 O levels? To go to university is easy, but to get 3 O level, you got to be a strategist and a specialist. Right? And you need to strategize which 3 subjects, and you got to specialize in the 3 subjects. So I graduated with 3 O levels, but I've been to 10 universities. Not to start. That includes Harvard, Stanford, and Yale. None of which I've attended, just to walk around.
It's part of the 60 countries.
Yeah. In fact, I'm now making it a point that every country I visit, I actually visit the university. And for example, places like India, some of the universities I speak there as well.
Wow.
So I do get invited to speak, even though I've never been to one. So after graduating, I had nothing to do for a year. I work if you are familiar with this place called Loyang Offshore Base, which actually are oil rigging.
The Changi area.
Yeah, in Changi area. And I used to work there for about a year. People start work in the morning. I resign at lunchtime because always fighting. And that's when I also learned that the problem was with my attitude, not with the people around. And when my attitude changed, my results changed. But at that time, I didn't know these things. These were all lessons you learn accidentally. So, and when I was almost 18, 3 months short of 18 years old, a friend of mine called me up and he said, he saw an advertisement that said the sky is the limit. Have you seen that?
Sounds like an Air Force ad.
Joined the Air
Yeah.
Force, but forgot to tell me engine got limits. So I signed 7 years of my life to the Republic of Singapore Air Force.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And,
Above all.
Above all, yeah.
7 years, I used to tell people the third reason why I decided to go into sales was because my warrant officer was a psychopath who didn't have the decency to go crazy, He was Hitler's second cousin, So I spent 7 years in that unit, and during my career, 2 aircraft didn't land the way they're supposed to. So I decided maybe I should leave the Air Force because Air Force aircraft only got single engine. And when 2 aircraft didn't, when they crashed, I said, okay, maybe I should join the airlines. So airline aircraft at that time got 4 engine,
Yes.
I decided I will leave and join. For professional reasons, I'm not going to name the airline. He said, okay with you?
Okay,
Yeah, that's fine.
But the advertisement went something like this: all around the world, the Singapore girl. But we're not going to name them for
we
professional
got it,
reasons.
we got it, yeah.
So I kind of worked for them for 6 months before they found out I got limited intelligence. So I moved over to an American airline in early 1989. The last aircraft I checked crashed in Kuala Lumpur at 5:30 in the morning. And that was a turning point in my career. I told my father, maybe I should leave the aviation business. My father said, you should. In my entire 30 years, not a single aircraft crash.
So many crash already.
Hey, not easy, How many people
like
in life
the 3 O level, not easy.
as well.
You see, without going to war, I brought down 3 aircraft.
Exactly.
Not too bad, right?
Yeah.
So hire
One
you
more
now,
in a bit.
yes.
These days, that's why when I fly, I go to sleep immediately because I don't know which guy will be like me with technical incompetency working, So after that 7-8 years, I walked in one day. It was actually early 1988. I decided I will be a full-time. Prior to that, I just did a month of part-time insurance, and I walked in and I said I'll become a full-time life insurance agent. So I spent 13 years in the financial industry, starting as an agent, moving up to be a district manager. And then in 1999, 2000, I spoke at one meeting, I was invited to speak on customer service, and I explained what the future will be in the financial industry. And then when I went back to the company for which I worked for, they decided to ban me from speaking because
why?
what I said was considered negative at that time. I said insurance companies will compete with their own agents for the business, direct marketing. And I said banks will enter into the arena and banks will compete for the business. And at that time, because I couldn't, probably not enough research, I just spoke what was in my mind. And then, so I spent another a year or so staying in the business. Then one day I woke up, I told my wife, I'm going to resign and start all over again. My wife said, hey, you borrowed money to buy a house and all that. You got to pay back. I said, when you borrow money, you should never worry. The one who lend you the money should worry.
That's a good one. That's a good point.
So
That's a good
next
point.
time if you want to borrow money to do any business, borrow big amounts.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about paying back, because
Let
that guy
the
was...
lender worry.
Yeah, let the fellow worry. You borrow small amount, you regularly have to worry,
Yeah.
And then you worry for small things. You know what I mean? You want to worry, you worry for big things.
Might as well, right? Go
worry
big.
things, yeah. So that's and that was the turning point that and I came into the professional speaking arena. And last 26 years now, I've been speaking, training in communication, sales, leadership, saying things that not exactly people would like to hear, but I do it,
So what are those things that people don't like to hear, but the hard truths?
Yeah, some of this things about, we have been told that you work hard, you'll be successful. That's the biggest bullshit. I think, if you want to work hard, you might as well work in the construction site. Hey, these hands helped build Changi Airport. Because when I was 17, I actually worked. If you go to Changi Airport, you can see the tower.
Yes.
That area around the tower, these hands actually use the spade to dig hole.
Oh, wow.
Okay? That was a school holiday job in a construction site. So that is hard work.
Yes.
Okay. Sales is not hard work. Generally, I always think that sales is for lazy people like me. Because sales require thinking, and you get the highest income with technically the lowest amount of physical energy.
Okay.
That's just how, so...
But many people say that, sales are not for them.
Actually, in life, there's nothing is for you. Everything is nurtured, not nature. Okay, it's like my daughter who does clowning, and yesterday I was just writing about. I put up a post on engaging with humor. It's a program that I did with my daughter. First time, we were doing a program on humor. And one of the things I put down there, everybody thinks humor is nature, but humor is nurtured. It's a process, whether you want to learn, and so that's how everything you do, whether it's sales, whether it's leadership. And people will tell me, no, I can't lead, but you put them in a position and pay them the right amount, they lead. Look at PAP, it's a good example. You take leaders, some of them probably don't even know how to deliver a speech, but
and you groom them from there.
Yeah, so it's just a process of nurturing, and they do that generationally.
Right. Yeah. So let's deep dive some of the chapters.
I told you it's risky, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's good conversation. Right. And okay, so as I was reading through the book, or rather scanning through the book, I saw that.
By the way,
yes.
Do not read through the book fully unless you want to sleep. Right?
Come on, it's not that bad, right?
I always tell people, when you can't sleep, you read this book, it will help you sleep. Otherwise, my advice is just take any 2 pages and that's fine for the day. My philosophy, and I used to tell people, I read 4 books a day. Don't get impressed. I said 4 books a day. I didn't say I complete 4 books a day.
Fair enough.
And any book I get one idea, I think that book has done its service for the day. So in the same way, when you glance through 1-2 pages, you get the idea, that's great. Then you come back. Because we have a tendency, or generally people have a tendency when they get a book, they feel they must complete.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
As a result, they don't enjoy the process of learning. Okay.
So now I have a more serious question.
Yeah, sure.
How big is your house?
Well,
for you to read 4 books a day, 365 days, that's
at the
1,000
peak-
over books.
At the peak, I had 1,000 over books.
Wow.
And as we were moving, my wife felt that some of these
Some of the
books
books
were
should throw
old,
away.
and she decided to get rid of some of these books. So I said, but I would say at this moment, I still have a few hundred books that and the problem at home, the question at home is always when we move to a smaller house, what's going to happen to the books? they will find a place.
Yeah.
Because I tend to read my books over and over again because I have a reading problem. I can't read properly. Okay, and this is since I was young. When the teacher asked me to read, tears will come down from my eyes because I cannot see properly.
Well, I'm confused when you say that you can't read
Why?
properly.
I can't read properly. I just words. I have difficulty in words. So I interesting teacher in primary 5. Her name is Pandora Wong. She opened the Pandora's box
for you.
Yeah. What she did is she had colored fingernails, right? She colored, and then she put the hand and she said, "You keep following this." So that's how
You learn to read.
And I still need to read any book about at least 7-8 times to understand things. I'm a slow learner. My wife will ask me why you read the book. I'm a slow learner, so it doesn't matter.
But you wrote 5 books. It doesn't matter too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of reading it, he writes it. you know.
Yeah.
I'm reading through, and one story caught up. The Dog at the Shadow. Do you remember the story?
There are many stories. Is how sometimes we are even we let our shadows actually our own fears, right?
Yeah, they say something about don't drop your value chasing a bigger illusion.
Yeah, because we have certain values. It's something people would talk about my they'll tell me, oh, your competition. My competition spend their time finding something wrong with me. I spend my time looking at what's good about me and focus on that. And this is something I always tell people, your competition will be very busy talking about how bad you are. You should be focused on how good you are. Why bother about what? They will have their energy spent on looking at what's bad.
I think it's true, right? I think most people look very envious when someone is doing well and just bad-mouthing all the
And
way.
I think I spent a lot of time in the past trying to look at all these things, Then I realized that actually I should be focused on my core competence. I've not even identified what's my core competence,
Yeah.
It's like, when I was in the younger days where my body looked more like a Coke bottle and today it look more like Coke can. But when it was a traditional Coke bottle, I used to run 32 kilometers a day.
Wow.
Away from something or?
No, Along was chasing me. No, that I was in the Air Force and I had in fact, in one of my books, I wrote about this coursemate of mine. His name is Kumar, and he set the Caltex record for 800 meters. And every afternoon at 3:00, he would say, "Let's go for a short run." Okay, short run. And at that time, I didn't know short run to him was 8 kilometers.
Oh wow!
Okay. At 3:00 in the afternoon, I still remember tears rolling down my eyes. And like, what kind of friend is this? And the gap between me and him will be at least 1-2 kilometers. Right?
Then why bother to turn back?
Yeah, but our ego didn't allow. So, and that's what I mean by competition.
Yeah.
He wasn't the competition.
Yeah,
I was asking myself whether can I complete this, right? And it was interesting from the 8 kilometers it started 2, 3, 8, and eventually we were doing 30 kilometers daily, 32 kilometers daily, And almost every competition that we went, we actually won. And he had the same attitude towards studying because we had 2 years we had to do in the training institute, AETI, right? So 1 whole year will be just theory. And every day, he will spend 2 to 3 hours because the afternoons, because we are in sports, we get to run, right? But and then the rest of the day is just classes in the morning, and then you got 2-3 hours, nothing to do. And he would just go through the questions and repetitive. That kind of changed the way we learn, And I would say he was the greatest influence into my learning. And we came out as the top 2 students in electrical instruments engineering in the Air Force.
Oh, wow.
Only because every day,
So what did he teach you about the learning part?
I don't think he was a brilliant learner, but he was conscientious. Basically, what he does is, and something that I picked up was he will read, all right, then you will ask as many questions as possible from that page. So by the time he finished, you would have known the page.
Inside out.
The content inside out.
The content inside. And later on, because we are very actively involved in sports, the senior guys wanted us in their hockey team or football team. They'll give us past year questions. So that made it even easier. You begin to understand that, this is how questions are. Initially, you don't know. In the same way in business, right? When you start a business, you don't really know what is going to happen. But there are people who have run a business before. And they are excellent teachers. Yeah, people always say learn from experience, and I read a quote some time ago. It said, "Fools learn from experience; wise men learn from experience of others." Right. So if I'm willing to be humble enough to learn from someone, right, I reduce the number of mistakes I make. I don't think it will be a perfect world where you don't make mistakes, but our ability to learn from the mistake is, is more critical.
At first I thought he's gonna say that as you run, right, Kumar's gonna ask you a question while you're running,
Oh no, he did that. When we're in the beginning, we can keep pace.
Yeah.
Right? But
After a while, no.
after a while, the gap is too wide.
You lag behind because you refuse to answer his question, right?
I don't have the same. Okay, so this is another thing. Some people are driven, right? They are driven on their own. They have developed their drivers. Okay, so they know what drives them. They go for it. Some of us, this may not be our driver. My driver was never to run at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, this is the most ridiculous thing to do. 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes.
It's hot like mad.
It's not even part of the military training. No.
It's just for own time.
And every day 3 to 5 you're out there running, right? I can spend hours running after some girl, but but then you begin to discover that these are his drivers, right? And so this is something I say. First of all, is do you develop? Do you discover your drivers? What exactly drives you? Be it in business, if you want to set up a business, you want to run or whatever, you got to discover your drivers first. Okay? Once you discover what drives you, then you got to define your desires. Okay? Kumar's desire was to get, because we were only a few of us in that group that was recruited as minorities. For him, we have to excel. That was his driver.
Goal. Yeah, his driver.
Right? We got to excel. We can't just be like everybody else, be a minority and forever. And for me, life is that's still a long way. I don't need to suffer now. You know what I mean? But once you discover, you got to define your desires. His desire was to create that impact. Okay? So then once it's defined, then you got to go and I say, once you discover what you feel that, this is what are my drivers, you have defined your desires, then you got to start developing your determination.
The thing is that I think many people hasn't reached the stage of finding their desire point, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the current situation, we are very sheltered, parents looking after us and things like that. The desire point, it's not there for many of the younger ones. Is there any tips for the younger ones to find that desire point so that they are motivated and drive to do certain things for success?
I think.
Do you think they can find it by themselves, or is it caused by an external factor?
Everybody is looking for the key to success without realizing the key to success. Yeah, because from young your mindset is already locked. Then you're looking for the key to success without realizing I'm carrying the key. Is it a physical key or psychological key that will help you become successful?
So what do you think?
So I would say that most people are driven by the physical keys, right? They spend their time there. But it's what drives you psychologically is what we need to identify. I mean, it's something that when you said, okay, how do you motivate your kids? I think motivation is temporary. And sometimes even no matter what you do,
it's like a rabbit is going to come out.
No, it's not a rabbit. I carry a cow with me. And this is basically what happens. Sometimes your parents will do that. They gear the kid and the kid does nothing. Right? Right?
That's actually a very interesting plot.
Can you repeat what you say again?
Yeah, they drive where you think is motivation, but the kid is just sitting there. Nothing happens. Maybe he might jump. That's about all. But that makes you happy, but it's temporary, right? But some are slightly different. They're like this chick, I always wanted to travel with a chick all my life. So
I mean, you are now.
Yeah. So, and you can move, but you see at some point that chick is going to stop. Right? And this is what happens to parents. My kid stopped, he's not doing well. And then they start doing all over again. And this happens, right? So this is what motivation does. It's temporary. Okay? I mean, I was just reading the last few days, there's articles on PSLE and
Caning.
And caning, yeah. One of the things is you see, we bring the most brilliant people to run the government, so I'm sure they have the best advice.
Yeah.
But we spend so much time focusing on PSLE, right? But we put the best teachers in secondary 4, in the best schools, right? You should, if you really want the kid to be inspired, you should put the best teachers in kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Because if I put the best teachers in kindergarten who can nurture the learning, that kid is inspired for the rest of his life. This is actually for parents who are always concerned about PSLE. Just a waste of time thinking, and in the end, the kid can't make it, he jumped down. Right? We still have a high rate of suicide. Right? Suicide among school children, suicide among elderly, we still have a high rate, okay, by percentage. Right? And so I if you don't mind, if I were to give a personal example, I tell my 3 children, education is not important. Okay? And here I'm teaching. Right?
You went to 10 universities. Come on, man.
So none of which I attended. So I tell them it's not important. And interestingly, right, my oldest son went on to study design and plays 13 musical instruments.
Oh, wow.
If you Google Gifted Fire, Stanis Benjamin, you'll find all his music. This design of this book, right, is actually done by him.
Okay.
Oh,
In fact,
wow.
the
drawing?
book, no. Yeah. In fact, most of the books are designed by him, except for the first book. Okay, first book was designed by my publisher and printer. Her name is Claire. I'm grateful to her. In 2016, nobody wanted to do this, and she took on a job but see, for Sean, his interest was music, right? And he was driven by that music, and everything else he was willing to forego. So he went on to study music, right? And he's now DJing across the region, but he spent 10 years in New York DJing there, right? That's Sean. Plays 13 musical instruments. Drums is his favorite, okay? I consider it as noise.
It's music to
That's his
him.
passion. You know what I mean? So you see, what drives him, and what I see, and I look at it, by me putting discipline, I deprive him of getting the best.
Of him.
Yeah.
Right.
And we had very distant, strange relationship for a long time. Now I can get a 35-year-old telling me, Dad, I love you. I'm lucky in that sense, fortunate. But this is what happens to a lot of parents. You want the best education for your child. You discipline to a point that they hate education, they hate studying. And what happens? Then you lose them, right? He has left the country, so probably, but the large part of our life is gone because of we were driving discipline. We want to get the best out. My daughter, her interest is dance and drama, right? And we were typical Singaporean parent, you need to have education. She came, she did well. She went on to St. Margaret. She did dance and drama there. She's a 5-pointer at O-level, 5-pointer at A-level, went to Yale and US. And interestingly, I don't think she got a scholarship despite being a 5-pointer, except for a residency they pay. And we only live 2 bus stops away from the university. Right? Okay. But her interest was never to about studies. Her interest was
Dance.
to act, dance, drama, to bring. And today she brings a joy to people by doing clowning. So I produce the world's highest qualified clown. There's no clown who's gone to Yale University. So.
But by clowning, you mean like performing as a clown? They're not clowning around, right?
No, red-nosed clown. So they spend their life clowning anyway.
Okay.
So and she brings joy to people, and that's what a parent should do. Be able to let the child, number one, discover what they enjoy most. Which I'm talking as a failed parent, not as a successful parent. If I was successful, they would, they probably would have reached their goals even faster, right? But because I was following the Singapore system, you got to study, you got to do well in PSLE. My youngest son, right, can't study, right? We was even told to delay him going to school, right? And And he come back home about 2 upon 100 for maths kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
And I still remember, I tell him, hey, 2 upon 100, that's fine. Better to be seen somewhere than to be seen nowhere in between,
Okay.
Fair statement. Yeah.
And I tell him, if you're not good in maths, don't worry. Find a girl who is good in maths, the problem is solved. Right?
Yeah.
That's true too.
Yeah. So why focus on your weakness? Because everybody was telling him on what he's not good at. But we should be looking at what we are good at. And he just graduated and he's now a CEO of an AI company.
Oh,
And
wow.
actually, interestingly, from not being able to study, right, going on to St. Patrick's School, N levels. From N levels, he went on to Republic Poly for a few months, came back home one day and said, Dad, you're wasting your money, sending me to spend 4 years here. Send me to Australia. I will do 1 year of foundation program. And then I'll come back, serve NS, and then I'll go and do uni. I thought this was a brilliant idea, and I didn't realize how much it's going to cost, but I said, never mind, at least
But
he
that's
can
his
explore.
drive, right?
Yeah, so he
Yeah.
went on. And while he was there, they tell him, he has a scholarship to go to Finland.
Oh.
I said, this guy can't study going to Finland.
Hey, where did he get his scholarship from?
So he called me up. He said, Dad, I'm going to Finland 3 months. I said, okay, But he said, this scholarship costs you $28,000. What? $28,000 for a scholarship? It's supposed to be free.
Yeah.
He said, yes, the scholarship is free, but, I need money for expenses. Right? So I said, fine.
The studies was free.
I said, fine, then go and do.
He's
But
not there to look for any Finland girl, right?
So he went there about a month, or he called me up. He said, hey, Dad, I want to tell you, I've been asked for an interview with Stanford University. I said, Stanford? And here I was thinking, he said, they are asking to interview. I said, go ahead. In my mind, if you get, that's great. And then he called me up. He said, Dad, I managed to get in. And it's going to cost you another $20,000. So he actually spent a few months in Stanford, and then he did an AI project, and that's how he ended up in doing this. And why I'm sharing this, it sounds egoistic, for a 3 O-level to have 2 kids who have gone to some of the top universities. Right? It's because they discover what passion is for them. If it was purely discipline, I don't think they would have made it. And I've always said this, our ability to deal with failure brings us more happiness in life than success. Okay. Everybody I still remember the days when the teachers were called up and said, your son cannot study, I tell them, that's why I send him to school. He can study, no need to send to school.
The whole purpose, right?
Yeah, that's the whole purpose, right? Your job is to teach, right?
So I taught my children to challenge boundaries. Okay? So when they get sent out of the class, my younger son really followed everything. He gets sent out of the class. And I tell him, next time ask the teacher, does my father get a discount on school fees?
Yeah. Did he ask?
Yeah, he asked.
did?
So they sent him to the principal's office. Right?
And he asked the principal.
So I said, tell your principal, if your teacher can't teach, then inform the Ministry of Education so that I don't have to send you to school. Because if I don't send you to primary school, I go to jail 6 months. Right? You see, they had to discover why they were going to school. So sometimes he can't get up. I say, never mind, you sleep, don't need to go to school. He said, for you, education, for me, important. So you go. Problem solved. See, unless we can make them discover it for themselves, And it's the same in business, the same. You see, people say, I want a job, right? After getting a job, or they say, I want to, they always, you do any interviews with anyone, right? What do you take? Why are you taking this job? The answer is usually make
Money.
My response will always be, if you want to make money, go and work in Singapore Mint. That's the only place where
You can make real money.
They make real money, right?
Yeah.
But everywhere else you got to work. But to work means what are you bringing as competency? As an Indian, I can speak without full stop or comma. You know that, right?
We are happy with that. Always happy with
So
that.
after all this, what does success look like to you?
Actually, I don't think I pursue success, right? And one of the things I constantly tell people, that's why the topic I speak across the world is called success to significance. The reason is, let me ask you this question. Since we are the topic of PSLE, which is a favorite among,
Singaporean
from many,
parents.
all the way up to Parliament, is a discussion, is a funny thing. But what did you score for PSLE?
Wow.
Oh, mine is bad.
Yeah,
bad.
bad.
Never mind, just give me a number.
Just what's yours?
200 plus.
Yeah,
200 plus and you
yeah.
feel bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And when you hear he 200 plus and if you had less than 200, do you feel successful? But you see, in my...
He definitely has
no,
more than
Yeah,
200
but
plus.
my
yeah.
point here is this. You see, if you had got 200 plus, your neighbors cost, let's say 210, your neighbors cost 215, do you feel successful?
Then if I have 200 and then it's 210, no.
I mean,
it's
no,
just
yes,
wrong.
comparison,
and
yeah.
that's our problem, you see.
Yeah, you're
so you can never
comparing,
feel
yeah.
successful. You buy a house, your father
father
buys
wants the
a
bigger
you know,
one.
your father buys a 3-room flat, very happy that finally he can afford to own a 3-room flat. Somebody comes and asks him the price, and he tells the price. He says, hey, that kind of price
Wow,
you can buy
get a
4
4.
room. Now, does your father feel successful?
No.
By the time he's
Just
60,
cheated.
70 years old, right? He spent all his life trying to own a property, right? Only to realize finally he gets a condo with swimming pool, but can't go swimming because if he goes swimming, lifeguard must be on standby. you understand? Or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what we are doing, pursuing success defined by somebody else. But within our life, we can create significance, impact. Significance is within our control, right? For me to speak, like I said this goal, making a difference to 1 million without 1 million, because our ministers all need $1 million salary to do the job, okay? And still not enough. You know what I mean? Now they want to have fortunately because of the crisis, they have delayed it, you know, but they can take bus only to prove that, you know, during crisis. Other times they don't. But, you know, so, but the point here is you want to make a difference. I feel that I can't make a difference to 1 million people on my own. But I'm fortunate that, Matthew, I've trained you many years ago in my class. But today you lead a team of 100 over people. And every day you're talking to maybe another 50, 60 people. These 100 people you train will talk to another 100 people. That's significance. My significance is in that one person's life. And I say this all the time in classroom. When you enter the classroom where I'm teaching, all you need to do is walk out with one idea.
Yep.
If the one idea can increase your effectiveness or anything, I consider myself 100% success. You don't need 25,000 ideas. That's significance. Because I have also this mindset that when somebody enters my classroom, right, whether it's a 1-hour program, 3-hour program, or 1-day program, I have that one chance to make a difference. That's significance, right? And I can never return back this 1 hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm always conscious this 1 hour could make a difference to a family that this family may not even come to my funeral. You understand? Anyway, I told my wife at my funeral, I only expect 5 people. Because the number of people who turn up for your funeral still depends on the weather. Like today, bad weather, not many people will come, you know. So 5 people, my 3 children, the priest and my wife. Now all my 3 children traveling out of the country, slim chance of them attending Zoom only. Right? So, but you see, if you create impact in someone's life, the significance, that person will still turn up. Okay? And that's what I think people should pursue significance because it's within your control. Success is defined by somebody else.
What do you think that's the case, where people still chase the success defined by somebody else?
I think society has a way of controlling you and me. Right? But the moment I put PSLE is important, you will go and pay. Economy is run, what?
Yeah.
Tuition is run and all that. So if not, everybody becomes complacent. Everybody feels that, hey, I can live by the beach, you know, catch fish there. And because I live in Changi village, so used to go and catch fish there. I could live. So there's no drive.
Crab baskets and all. Yeah.
And you get trapped in this thinking, right?
Yeah.
So when we begin to create success and show these comparisons, people are driven. So the economy continues, right?
So it's like an illusion.
Success is an illusion. I think the best way to explain this is, yes, like every day you think you're working very hard, you're successful, but nothing changes. But you feel you're stretching, no? Has anything changed? Nothing. This is a helix cable, but this is what you call an illusion.
Is it moving?
It's moving to me. It's like moving longer and longer, but I don't know whether the camera can able to see it. Yeah. Oh wow.
Nothing has changed.
You can look at this camera.
Why?
Wow,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It's not a toy to play. It's what you call a technical tool.
It's a technical tool for?
I always tell people, every time people tell me I like your toys, no, toys sounds too sexual. Mine is. These are all training tools.
Wow.
So just like this. Is it sexual?
This is basically, in business type, and we always, when we travel, we meet people, but unless there's something in common, otherwise you're just pass each other. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So what is it that attracts people? The values that you have, that's what it is.
Wow. I mean, to me, you're like a magician, man.
It is.
Yeah,
Stanis
it's
a magician.
I don't know about
Wow.
I don't know about being a magician, but I think life is filled with opportunities for us to discover. The thing is that when I travel, right, I see something, then I try to look at it and say, how does this work? For example, I was teaching communication class, and then I saw this, and I thought this makes sense because many people are like that. They actually get, trained, right? But when the moment they have to stand up and speak, nothing happens.
Hey, another one, just like the
it's
cow.
very Asian. Yeah.
Yeah. So you maybe you got to start with something first, But this originally could chatter.
Okay.
Then along the way it didn't work, but it makes sense for me to explain.
Okay.
So I don't throw away any of these things because unless you can discover some. There's always something to learn from some of these things.
So your wife is okay with you with all the toys, right?
I mean, it's okay, the 1,000 over books.
I don't know what you mean by that, but we'll keep that. So when we talk about success, it's basically this: everyone comes in life ready to fly. Yes, no.
Yeah, many birds.
yes.
Yeah,
You-
but
you-
after a while, they feel rejected.
Yeah,
and then a few
tired.
more rejection. This is what they go home feeling every day.
Yes.
That's what success is. But actually, the same bird has the capability to fly on his own. But because of rejection and everything, so I think my personal view about life is if you can define what kind of significance you want to create in life, you pursue it, and gradually, I mean, you'll accomplish things. But there would never be one goal that ends everything and make you feel successful. Maybe you can have 1,000 activities that you have never done. You challenge your boundaries, right? It's like people set goals every year, but the people will see, for example, in the insurance industry, you ask people every year, what's a goal? MDRT, right? If they have done MDRT, the next year is still MDRT. That's no more longer a goal because it shouldn't be a goal anymore. It's an activity, right? A goal must be something that challenges your boundary, makes you move beyond your comfort zone, right? And all goals are usually bigger than your personality because your personality is programmed by someone who has no idea what you're capable of. Sorry, I'm talking about your parents. No.
Yeah. I was thinking, all government.
Yeah. In Singapore, it's the government. It programs you in such a way, right? So
Wait, can you repeat that? So it's programmed by someone who?
has no idea what you're capable of. They just want you to follow. It's like in the early years, right? Singapore was supposed to be basically, we were focused only on industrialization, so factory. So you're supposed to think like a factory worker. You go to school, you're the basic, you go to a factory, you do the thing, and then you go off, right? But over a period of time, it became too costly to keep factories. All the factories move out. But what happened to the Singaporean? He is a factory worker. Now you ask him to think.
Yeah.
Then it became a problem. So now
Skills future.
Now they have all these things, different programs. But what you have done is you never made people challenge their boundaries. You made people to think in a certain way. Or today we are focused only on AI. So everybody is thinking of AI,
Yeah.
right? It's the same way. One time we said we will be a pharmaceutical environment. So everybody focus on pharmaceutical. So
Life
this is-
science. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but then we are always 20 years behind things. But our ministers, we got the best ones.
Of course, man. Can't live without that, right? I mean, that's where we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, on that note, I think, to be very honest, talking to you, I think we can spend one full day. Right?
No, it's
But
too risky. Yes.
I would love that one full day conversation with you. But I thought to pull up some interesting
Stories?
tips from
Okay,
the books
sure.
that you have. Right. And I think I saw something over here that says it feels like a 4D number. Yeah.
Do not
and-
buy the number. It doesn't strike them. But
Really?
yeah.
It says
It's
5636
5636 though?
Yeah.
It will come
5636.
out next week.
Yeah. No, tomorrow or something.
Tomorrow.
Maybe.
5636 is actually a pattern on how I keep, ensuring that. When I first started sales, 90% of my sales come from telephone cold calls.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Those days before PDPA and all that. The reason why it was easy, telephone cold calls, was because in St. Patrick's School, there was a hobby, collecting girls' phone numbers. All right.
It's just
This
just
is
in,
a story we need to listen.
You see, St. Patrick's School has an unwritten
just in
rule.
St. Pat's or in every boys' school.
St. Pat sets an unwritten rule in the school. Any boy who enters a school at 13, by the time he's 16, if he's not attached to any of the convent girls across the road, that means he has no market value. So we have to live up to our market value. We collect girls' phone numbers, right?
Okay.
Now, not every girl will give you an opportunity at that age. So we, over a period of time, we created a system. Basically, when we first meet a girl, if she rejects us, right, we follow up with her 6 weeks later.
Okay.
Okay. 6 weeks later, she rejects us. We follow up 3 months later. 3 months later, she rejects us. We follow up 6 months later. Why 6 months later? Because our studies at that time shows, informal studies at that time shows,
Patrick
that
studies,
an
yeah.
average,
Reports on it.
an average relationship in secondary school lasts only 7 months. Not the Chinese 7 months, but only 7 months.
Okay.
So technically, on the 6th month, you must be in position. Because you're going to break up, then
They can take over.
so that's how it started. So later, when I came into insurance sales, I realized that people would reject, right? And these normal people are going to reject it for many reasons. First of all, look at me. Do I look trustworthy? No. So I look, no, don't say anything. I look at myself every day in the mirror, so I know. So I accept that I don't have that look, the trustworthy look. So if I can't even get $10 from you, how am I going to get $50, $100, or even $50,000? You know what I mean? So I decided that, yeah, people have the right to reject. My job is to build trust. Okay? So if you reject me today, I will follow up with you 6 weeks later. You reject 6 weeks later, I follow up with you 3 months
months
later.
down the
3
road.
months later, you reject, I follow 6 months later. 6 months you reject, I will start again 636 for 5 years. That's why 5. 5 refers to 5 years. 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months. And I do this for 5 years. And there are clients I've sold insurance to, and even till today, there are clients in training who didn't hire me in the first year, but 5 years later, they hire me. My job is just keep working on my skills and looking at their problems they may have, and then look at where I can add value to the market. Okay? And that's what an entrepreneur should do, right? So if you have a system to follow up, I mean, today technology solves the
Yeah,
problem.
it helps a bit.
Yeah, but you still have to track it. And this system in the insurance industry, it was modified. I mean, you have the 20-point tracker,
Yeah.
right? We use that. And that kind of helps you identify your skills gap. First time people reject you, maybe it's trust, right? After 4 or 5 years, they still reject you. There's something that you have not done correct.
Something is wrong with you.
Yeah. So maybe you have to work on that, right? So by tracking, you begin to identify your skills gap.
Right.
That's how the 5636 came about.
What's this 20-point tracker thing?
It's actually a tracking tool of your activity.
Okay.
Right. So how many calls you make per day?
Okay.
How many appointments you have? How many close? How many? So it has all the basically the 6 steps of the sales process is in there. The only problem is people do not want to use it or don't do it. Those who use it achieve success, and once they achieve the success they want,
They forget.
They stop. Because they don't want to revisit the fundamentals, right? But those who follow it will always accomplish year after year. Okay? And reason why some people don't want to do it is because the 20-point tracker technically is built in with a lie detector. The day you lie, it will show you. And the best part is, you know you are lying, right? I will know 6 weeks later that you are lying. But you know every day you're lying.
Yeah.
And you got to live with the guilt. That's why sometimes, team leaders will come and ask, the salesperson will say, oh, market is bad and all that. But my question is, how many calls did you make? What's the follow-up? If you don't have anything, then how do you say the market is bad? Right? Market may be bad, but where are you focusing on? So identifying that skills is important. Yeah.
I agree. I think the biggest concern with most sales professionals is the inability to keep up with the tracking. Yeah.
I think it's not so much the inability, is the refusal to track.
The refusal.
The refusal. The ability
Don't
is
to face up to the
that's right.
reality.
The reality, that's right. Because you see, today with technology,
Do you have a toy for that?
No, I don't. I said toy sounds very but
Tool? Do you have a tool for that? Do you have a tool for that?
actually, your telephone is a tool. If you take your telephone, right, you can build in your 20-point tracker into the telephone. So you don't really have to worry about just pick up and then you can key in. But it's just I don't want to do that because it reveals,
Whether
it
you're
shows
doing
that
the
day
real
I
work
work
or
or I
not.
don't work.
Yeah.
You know, I still have I still make it a point of even when I prepare for a speech, I actually script my speech. I'll give you an example. You know, so if I'm going to go and deliver a speech, right, till today, I still write a script. Okay, most of the time I can't read them, but I will spend the night writing.
Yeah.
Right?
So to
And-
formalize the thoughts.
yeah, and it tells me what I'm going to say. You know, what activity I'm going to have. Everything is in there. The problem is, if you ask anybody, have they seen me take out
Take
a
out the
script?
script.
No, it's all
in
the
the
back end
26
work.
But because I spent 6 weeks beforehand starting to work on the script, right? And I carry the script with me. And in fact, now I've probably thousands of these papers, that I do that recycle paper, but I get my script.
Do you
So
keep all of it?
I keep them.
You keep them?
From the time I started my career.
Wow.
So
You should
some-
pass them to me. Let me do something about it too for you. Maybe make it into a new book.
Actually, a lot of these things are there, but
Yeah.
it's something that there's a book that I'm writing on managing objection,
Okay.
right? Extracts of it were taken from Mrs. Liu, which were handwritten.
Oh.
Okay, handwritten. She wrote this name, and I actually want to put it in my book because to show her handwriting, number one, is neat, and number two is she actually scripted the process.
Wow.
And that kind of made me realize that in everything you do you script your process, right? If by just taking 10 minutes to do the script, it saves me, a lot more in my reputation, right? So, do we make it a point of doing that? Yeah. So the tracker is the same. Is whether you want to. It's about probabilities. It's about probabilities because
There you have.
yeah.
Wow.
If you look at it, right, if you don't even know, right,
Finally, we get to play with the ball.
you go
Wondering
out
when,
there.
Interesting way to play. Okay.
You go out there, you try to do something, and if you never practice, you're going to keep trying, right? But if you're bothered to practice, maybe
Hey.
because of
hey.
practice the first round.
Holy what?
Maybe, so maybe I do 10 times, I may get 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
I know my ratios.
Yeah.
That's what tracking does. Helps you know your ratios.
yeah.
Okay.
It gives you stats so that you know where are the
That's
fail
right.
point.
So if I know that if I talk to 10 people, one person would definitely do business with me, then I don't have to worry. Every day I just talk to 10 people, right? When I started my career, I learned from Mrs. Liu about this. And because of the way I talk, the way I look, I had to call 100 people and only one buy. Then I tell myself mentally, every day I just have to be prepared for a week. I must talk to 100 people. And then there's over a period of time as my skills develop, the ratios drop, right?
Increasing.
And from 100, it dropped to 50, then 30, then 20. Then eventually I had an attitude problem. I only go out when I know it's going to be a close.
Okay.
I kind of learned to qualify people on the phone and everything. So things change. And that can also work against you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I think Mr. Magician, I'm going to call you that, right?
Magician.
Now I'm going to show you my
I-
card tricks.
Now we got to take our card
I-
trick.
people tell me I do a lot of black magic. I'm black and then magic.
Well, that's a good one. I've never thought of that, but this.
Yeah, but you can't use the black because
Yeah, that's true.
It becomes very racist, So
Yes.
On this note, then let me go to our card trick then.
okay, sure.
Yeah.
This is the Enzo segment. Over the course of interviewing and networking, we realized that many people do not know what question to ask. Hence, we came up with this. It's as simple as pick up a card and ask that question. Come on, magician, come. Let's choose your 2 cards.
Okay.
Let's go.
So for you, for me, and for you.
All right.
Okay. So for the question you picked up, what initiatives have you started to give back to your community or industry?
That's interesting. Basically, in fact, when I launched the 5th book, I offered not only the books out, right, to my students. I've also gone out to speak at no cost, with no financial consideration. I actually stretched out to people and said, look, if you want me to come and speak, I can come and speak for an hour. But the moment you tell them you speak for an hour at no cost, people become suspicious. But otherwise, I am actually spending my time, and I am continuing to do that. That's one of the things, because it's part of the journey of success to significance, making a difference to 1 million without 1 million.
Yeah, I can testify to that because Stanis had reached out, right, for my group, and he did reach out and say, hey, why can I do this for you? And he said to talk about the books and the content inside so that you value add and reach the people. Yeah.
But sometimes people are suspicious, it's like, why you want to do this? But they don't understand that I would say that I benefited tremendously from the financial industry, the insurance industry. What I am today is because of the time I spent 13 years in the insurance career, from systems to process. I mean, the Air Force gave me systems and process. The insurance industry allowed me to practice that. And I've been teaching this, and I've seen.
How long have you been teaching actually in the insurance?
Insurance industry about 26 years now.
Yeah, exactly, so long.
And I would say that fairly more than 2,000 over people I've trained have done MDRT, TOT, COT, and all.
That's awesome.
But you don't just focus on the insurance
No,
industry, right?
I actually train many other. Interestingly, I just trained a company. It's called the United Leaves. Basically, it's a tobacco company.
Okay.
And I said to the CEO, I don't even smoke. And I'm teaching them how to sell tobacco leaves, It was a negotiation program. He said, no problem, we can teach you how to smoke. so that's
what a dangerous man. But okay.
Yeah. And for your second question, I have it here with me, right, is what new challenges did you take on to continue growing?
New challenges.
Wow.
Currently I am actually doing some consulting work. It started off with my son's AI company. All right. I'm actually looking at the issues that financial industry will face as AI comes in. Right. The book it started off as a book. It's called Stanis and Stanis because my son's name is Stanis, Staniz. Mine is Stanis. So Stanis and Stanis on the impact and influence of AI in the financial industry. And it's because I have experience in sales and in insurance, but I don't have the AI knowledge as much. In fact, when I buy the phone, by the time I learn the phone, they've already come out with the next one.
Okay.
So, and that itself is a whole relearning process. Yeah. And actually, even my writing for all these books were handwritten in scripts, right? Now I got to do it. I started typing, and it's taking longer. I can write, but the only problem is the person who has to type it after that can't read what I wrote. And sometimes I don't even know what I wrote because it's written in the middle of the night. So it's a whole relearning process for me in trying to use technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, and Mr. Benjamin, that's how we end. So I need to seek your advice. What do you think is the future for sales moving forward?
I think if you ask me for what the future will be and what the past has been, there's an alignment, right? When I say there's an alignment, this technology will continue to evolve. That's what has been happening. And there will always be a need for salespeople who can build rapport, salespeople who can bring value. They'll always have a life, okay? But processes, right? Technology will replace some of these processes. Technology will not replace the people, it will replace the processes. But people think that technology will replace the people and the only reason why technology will replace the people in the future is because these people are not adding value to the process, right? That's how I see the future, okay? And I think in the book I wrote about, it's no longer men or women versus men or women. It's like men or women versus machine, but why compete if you can utilize it as a collaborative tool?
So there's one thing that I wanted to find out from you. So in your many years as a financial practitioner in between, right? And coaching them and even now running your own business, what's the biggest financial lesson that you have to share with all of us?
I think a lot. I would probably share it from my youngest son's experience because he has to go and present recently at Grind in San Francisco to raise funds. Right, so they had to present for a few $1 million fund they have to get, and a lot of these young people go in and I said to my son, your product is not even out there yet, And here he says that this is what it is. We get the funding, then we will. Right? And my concern will always be, and something that I've always reminded myself is being prudent, right? Because we tend to think that, okay, I need to have that big car. There's a need to show you have a certain level of success to get that. But it cannot be at the expense of compromising everything else, and you can't sleep peacefully in the night. So in terms of running a business, when I started this business, professional speaking, actually I started only with the cost that was incurred for incorporating the company. I think it's at that time was about probably $100 over then, and it was built up from there. And I keep emphasizing to people is your talent is what people should pay for. Okay, so borrowed money puts you at risk, right? But if you do want to borrow big amounts. So let the one who lend you the money worry, not you. Okay.
Okay.
But if you want to borrow small amounts and run this business and there's also the time cost. Okay, everybody wants to run a business, but very few people actually focus on the actual cost of their time. So sometimes we end up subsidizing the business. You can earn $100,000, but you would have spent $70,000, $80,000 to get $100,000. So it really, you're better off working for someone else. So these are things that you must take into consideration, right? How much is your time worth? Okay. Otherwise, you may go for all these coffee meetings and everything, all cost money, right? The money you can earn back, but the time you can't. Okay.
Yeah. So I think for you, you have another 40 over years to reach 100 years old, right?
Let me correct that. I have passed 63. When I look back, 63 years seems long, but when I look ahead, I don't. The vision is looking much more shorter. So these days I'm more concerned about what's that short period I'm going to accomplish. Because in the last 63 years, what I've accomplished is history.
Yes.
Right. The remaining period, are the goals that have not been fulfilled have to be fulfilled. So, and I feel that I don't have enough time.
Right. So what legacy you're hoping to leave behind then?
Actually, I don't really think that I am out there trying to create a legacy. Okay. I'm not Lee Kuan Yew. But I am trying to ensure that the world remembers that there's a guy called Stanis Benjamin who once roamed the earth. So that's why I started working on these 10 books and trying to speak to a million, influence a million people through the works I do. So this is what I am trying to keep, lessons that I learned from my own bosses, from other people, other writers, and that goes on. That's my way of keeping things moving. That's just my part of contributing back.
Yeah. Right. Stanis, for every single guest that sit on that chair over there, we'll ask them, right, what is this one word you have for any inspiring entrepreneurs out there for success? Might not be entrepreneurs, but anyone looking for success.
Yeah, I think the one word I would say significance.
Why?
Because in your life, you can create significance in every person you meet. By having a casual conversation with someone when you cross the road, you created a significance in that person. I make it a point of having conversation with people all the time in my own ways. They may not remember me, but the next time they would. Significance is something that each one of us can do. And there's nothing that can stop you. Not even PAP.
Yeah. No, before we end off this whole conversation, I think if you really to go, it's a full day conversation and all that. But before we end off, right, I think any final advice for our viewers out there? Maybe I can put your attention to this camera over here, right? And give them any advice out there, anything.
I think my advice to everyone is, right, pursue your passion, discover your competencies, which is one of the hardest things for people is to discovering their competencies. Focus on the core competencies and enjoy the journey of making a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Stanis. I think it's as we conclude, I think it's always very refreshing to be reminded of to be reminded to return back to basics, right? And as I was running through the book, I think there was something that really spoke to me, and I wanted to bring it out. It was on page 184 of this, Turning No to No. It speaks about the dove and the ant, right? Of which the dove displays a small act of kindness to the ant, and in return, after a while, the ant repays back the kindness, and he has life-changing effects in his book. And I think what many people don't understand is that in conversations like this, and that what you mentioned, the small acts, right, of significance, eventually will will impact them in a way. And I think that's a big conclusion to me.
Just to add on to that point you just said, is the role of Mrs. Liu. Can you imagine 103 years old, and I've spoken in the MDRT, I've spoken many parts of the world, her name comes out, and that's
Again
significant.
and again, right?
She has not written a book, but her name is in at least 5 books.
Yeah. I think, Stanis, for us, what we will do for you, right, is I think we want people to reach out to you. Right? I think you are giving very valuable advice to people out there. And in our captions out there, what we will do is we'll put your website there so they can actually contact you. And I also understand that for anyone who contacted you, they'll be given a free book.
Yes.
Right? A sales confident book.
Yes.
So I think it's also while stock lasts on that aspect. So hopefully we'll leave it out there.
Yeah.
Right? Hopefully we have tons of people looking out for
Sure.
you.
StanisBenjamin.com.
Yeah, StanisBenjamin.com, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much for being
Thank you very
here.
much.
Hi guys, thank you for listening. If you like what you have just heard, follow us for more content like this.